the centre here. This is Paul Hickey. Down towards Paul Early. The call inside here from Duggan, splendidly blocked down. That's great defensive play in there. May well be Dermot Flanagan, the one who got the block in. Expertly done. And the referee deciding, I think, to throw the ball in.
Derek Duggan had a great chance of getting a score there that time. Not alone he should have at least got a point, but he could quite easily have got a goal there.
And the referee has signalled it's going to be a free in, just as Anthony McGarry was quite happy to take a free out the other way. Paul Early, the one who made that happen with that fine catch just a minute ago. So it'll be 19-year-old Derek Duggan, wind assisted, looking for his second score of the match. And Roscommon lead by 2. A really fine young prospect. That's fisted down by Michael Donlan. A challenge that seemed to be late in coming in, as that ball is flighted in towards Paul Early. And the Roscommon sideline ball is the outcome. Donlan pursued all the way over there. That's flighted inside. Peter Ford under some pressure, supported by McMenamin and Liam McHale. Getting it from Tomas Tierney. Rounding John Newton. McHale switching the direction of the play, involving Durkin now. Played forward by Tomas Tierney on towards Fitzmaurice. Again with the left boot, looking for Morley, caught instead by Pat Dury. Dury has settled very well. Finding Tony McManus. 20 metres out. That's his second attempt for a point. This one he's got. Roscommon lead by 3 points. It was splendidly cut in.
Yeah, well played on to Tony there and controlled it well, and from a difficult angle it was a wonderful score, no doubt. A great point for Tony McManus.
Want to take it round Paul Early. Remember, he's kicking into the wind. Matthew Riley going across there with Paul McStay. McStay, who's had a few minutes in there at full forward, as Mayo have been bidding to try and upset the rhythm of the Roscommon backline. McHale now. Chance of a score, surely. And he was taking that extra inch out of it, and Seamus Killoran somewhat annoyed with the referee's decision.
Yeah, I think Liam McHale was very, very lucky to have got a free there on that occasion. He stumbled more than any other team. Yeah, you see, he wins the ball here and he hops, basketball touch, solos. In fairness there to Killoran, he panged the ball away from him, and McHale only lunged after it more than anything. Well, I suppose he was pulled to a degree, all right.
This should be Mayo's first score. And it is. It's Fitzmaurice, their free taker, who's got it for them. So now it's 3 points to 1. So from the graveyard end of Dr. Hyde Park, it's Gay Sheeran, a solid and assured goalkeeper. There was some pulling. It was by TJ Kilgallen and John Newton. Newton punts it into the clear to Tony McManus, who's moved inside into the inside forward line. The little chip shot, and it strikes the post. Comes down to John Finn. It should have been a second point for Tony McManus. So from 3 attempts, he's put one wide, he's scored one, and he's hit the post with the other. McMenamin. Kilgallen now. A real driving force in this Mayo team. On towards the man in the corner, that's Dempsey. Goal chance! He's got it off the post! It's come off the post and it's gone wide. Ray Dempsey knows he should have buried that one.
Oh, that was a terrible miss by Dempsey. He was straight through. He had nobody to beat here, only the goalkeeper. He should have picked a spot and put it away. It was a terrible miss.
Durkin high up into the ozone layer. Down it comes Sheeran gathering. Collected securely. Fouled on his way out, and the referee says play on. Killoran. It's a good ball forward. We'll have to stretch for this one. Duggan had managed to get inside the cover. Oh, a super save! Brilliant save by Eugene Lavin. Well, Peter Ford was stretched at the back because Duggan had managed to get in behind him, took it well, but what a great save this was.
Yeah, Derek Duggan won it well, but I think it was a speculative shot more than anything. I think he'd have been well advised there to have taken the point.
This is the game's first 45. And he's put it over the bar.
Yeah, this Derek Duggan is an exceptionally good place kicker. And again today we have just got 1 point from play from Tony McManus. All the rest of them have been got from frees.
Roscommon this afternoon bidding for an 18th Connacht win and a 7th back-to-back. John Finn trying to upset those plans. McHale has been switched into midfield, it seems.
That's right, and Ray Dempsey has gone to full forward, and Tony Morley has gone left full forward as well.
Although in fairness, there's a fair amount of interpassing of positions and switching about. With a player like McHale in your side, you can afford to do that. And here he is. Struggling to wrestle free. Tomas Tierney. An interesting challenge from Tommy Graham. So he has his name taken. A challenge that might be more at home in the Australian rules code. Indeed, he had a period of time playing in Australian rules football.
Yes, it was a real rugby tackle, all right. Maybe it's a tackling that we should bring into the game, Joe. You know, we haven't really got a tackling in our game, and well, I mean, in that instance now, if that was allowed, the Roscommon player would have had to release, or the Mayo player would have had to release the ball, and maybe that would be a good thing.
It would have certainly speeded up the game. Play would have continued.
Unquestionably, and that's what we must do about our game. We must bring in a definite tackle or get the player in possession to release quicker, one or the other.
So Tomas Tierney is okay. Just moving out of the line of TJ Kilgallen to kick from the 65-metre line to an unmarked Liam McHale. Paul Hickey slow and closing him down. McStay trying to fist that one in field. Enon Gavin trying to make ground. Only as far as Liam McHale. On to McStay, left-footed, is rifled it to the left, and the breeze will hardly have helped that one, but it really screwed away from goal from an excellent opening.
There was Liam McHale is involved in all the moves here again, and that was a wonderful chance gone a biggie again for Mayo.
Paul Hickey sensibly taking up a good position to take the relatively short kick out. Killoran. Hickey now can continue to drive the ball forward into the Mayo backline. Duggan challenging Dermot Flanagan, and Flanagan really will have to mark particularly tightly this afternoon against young Derek Duggan, and the referee just indicating why he's awarding the free in. So on a fairly humid afternoon in the Midwest, he gently taps it high and over the bar. That's 4 points now for Derek Duggan. 3 from frees, 1 from a 45, and his side now in a very comfortable position. Willie Joe Padden is being prepared on the far side. Frank Noon there on the right of Willie Joe as we watch with the football down at his legs. But it seems that John O'Mahony is about to bring in the big midfielder fairly soon. Held inside by TJ Kilgallen with some difficulty. Glad to see the support coming from Michael Fitzmaurice. Now McMenamin. So far they've failed to get some of the inside forwards moving like Tony Morley. McStay happy to buzz around on the half-forward line, kicking into the wind, and he finds the range on this occasion. McStay's first point, Mayo's second. That to give them an injection of confidence with just under 10 minutes to go to half-time.
Yeah, he's the one player on the Mayo team who has got the skill to sell dummies and what have you, and he's a good finisher as well. That was a great score with the right foot, because I think he's naturally a left-footed player. That was a wonderful score for Mac Stay.
McHale beaten for it, touched away by John Newton to Paul Early. Early now has moved into the centre, just a two-man attack, Duggan and Tony McManus. So the initiative now is seized by Mayo. A good run forward by McGarry. Seemed to foul the ball as he was playing that forward originally. Morley. Moving in, but moving in unfairly.
Yes, that was a good decision by the referee. He made no attempt whatsoever to play the ball. He was barging his way through. It was a very good decision.
So 3 points the margin in a game which is really yet to come to life. Paul Early lets it bounce off his chest, comes down to Michael Donlan, the industrious man who likes to come out and make some space. Graham topping it well, and he's put it over the bar. Tommy Graham extends the lead then to 4 points for a Roscommon side in the ascendant so far in this tie.
Yes, Graham is a very good player. I think he proved that the last day. Yeah, he soldiered on well. He had much room here in fairness, but he took it well. Great score.
John Newton tussling with Liam McHale. In the end, it's taken by Tomas Tierney. Seamus Killoran not allowing him to play that ball, so the referee awards Mayo the free. TJ Kilgallen has taken it. Driven down towards Ray Dempsey. On to McMenamin. Popped over the bar, 6 points to 3. And it's Colin McMenamin, the midfield player, now operating in the half-forward line, who kicks over the point.
Yeah, I think Mayo would be well advised to drive the ball in more often there and trying to play the shot game. I think they're overdoing the shot game. And that proved one thing there. The long ball did the trick there. It was broken down and McMenamin took a score well. Yeah, this is a very skillful player, McMenamin as well. A very good player.
The packed terraces, space at a premium. A huge crowd present at Dr. Hyde Park. McHale challenging in midfield and winning that ball cleanly. Lovely catch. Dropped down towards Ray Dempsey, but Dury, reading his intentions, got out to the ball fast. Finding the man on this near wing, Tommy Graham, scorer of 2 points in last year's All-Ireland football semi-final against Cork. Takes the free kick quickly. Straight at Peter Ford, and the referee penalises Mayo some yards.
Yeah, that was good thinking of on Tommy Graham's part there. He got the ball in another 15 yards, which will help a young Duggan. He should be able to score this one.
It's just inside the 45-metre line. Looks good, well on its way, and it's now another point, 7-3 in Roscommon's favour, and 5 of those coming for Derek Duggan. Far too many of the points have come from place balls. As we watch Seamus Killoran fist this one down. Mayo win themselves the free for some pushing. So the scramble for possession. Finally picked up there by Joey Connaughton. Fisted forward by TJ Kilgallen onto Liam McHale. Just 4 points between the teams. McHale kicking, and he puts it over the bar to cut it back to just a goal difference. That score could be very important yet.
Yes, Liam McHale wins it well. Solos and sells a great dummy here again. And banks it straight over the bar. Yes, McHale is really on his game again today.
Probably looking for another watch. Gay Sheeran And the final piece of action from the first half. A first half where Roscommon settled well, and Derek Duggan in all kicked 5 points from frees, one of them a 45, to open up a 3-point gap at half-time. And the half-time score at Dr. Hyde Park in the replayed Connacht final reads Roscommon 7, Mayo 4. Pat Egan, then the Galway official, restarts, and Mayo confirmed the switch they made during the first half, with Liam McHale now in midfield, Colin McMenamin trading positions now on the 40. John Newton looking to make a good start to this second half, to Paul Early, who's yet to score in the match. Throwing it on to Michael Donlan. That's a very impressive start. All Roscommon possession. A brilliant trade of passes and a fine finish.
Yes, this was a very, very, very good move here, actually, and Donlan came right in there, was running on and got a wonderful pass and banged it straight over the bar. But in fairness to Paul Early, he created it, he held it, and he waited until Donlan came up, and there was a very good finish there. Mayo that needed that point, actually, but that should help Roscommon.
Michael Fitzmaurice. Caught here. Back to Lauren to Tommy Graham. John Finn's the nearest man for Mayo. Graham against Colin McMenamin. McManus. Oh, hit high it seemed. And the player who seemed to hit him, I think, was Peter Ford. This was the move inside. Watch the fullback. And it was John Finn, I think, who got him last.
John Finn, yes, you got him with the elbow there, I think. That's true.
And just in the midst of all that, in the background, Willie Joe Padden has moved into the Mayo team. That's an instant response, and the referee has taken the name of Peter Ford. Perhaps he, like me, thought it was Ford who caught the Roscommon man, but in fact, the replay suggested it was John Finn. Anyway, Willie Joe Padden, known around here as the Bullet from Belmullet, is in. Thankfully, Tony McManus is okay. Michael Donlan, with one score to his credit in the second half so far, and a chance now to extend Roscommon's lead. Oh, that's one they needed badly. It's gone well away from goal. A very poorly taken free by Michael Donlan, who seems to take them from the right-hand side and hits them in with the left.
Yeah, I think it would be more advisable for them to let Derek Dugan kick them. He's on his game today, and more than likely he would have pointed that one as well.
John Newton lets it drop down to Seamus Killoran. And the player over there, Derek Duggan, the one who's been restrained by Dermot Flanagan unceremoniously. Not much doubt about the foul, and Duggan, I'd imagine, is the one who'll step up to take the free. They lead, remember, by double scores, 8 points to 4. So the Connacht champions bidding to hold on to the title that they won here against Galway last year. Duggan in his third championship match has missed one. Held in play, but it was over the end line by the time that was done. 6 minutes gone towards Tony Morley. Leading it behind, however, Glennon. McManus against Tomas Tierney. John Finn was his marker in Castlebar. Derek Duggan is the target. That's well read by Dermot Flanagan. Tomas Tierney driving it out with the left boot, but it's mocked up in the centre of the field by Seamus Killoran. The wing-back Matthew Riley was ready to pounce down the left side of the field. Instead, it's Joey Connaughton to Des Newton. Tony McManus. This is a very promising start to the second half by Roscommon. Graham against Peter Butler. Duggan, and Dermot Flanagan's given him yards in which to set up a chance here. Trying to bring Michael Donlan He brought the substitute into it there. That's Vincent Glennon, the player who came in off the subs bench before the start of the match to kick his first point of the game. And now Roscommon enhance a very promising position.
Yeah, Duggan here, in fairness to him, he really let that ball off. He got it back again. That was well taken actually by Vincent Glennon in the finish. But Roscommon worked that score very well. They looked for one another, they got it into the open space, and they finished well.
Roscommon with the first 2 points of the second half. Mayo yet to score. Willie Joe Patton, can he inspire them to a victory yet? That's a super point. Willie Joe coming in off the bench from the second minute of the second half, and he's given an instant return to his manager John O'Mahony.
Yeah, that's the injection that Mayo needed now, and that was a wonderful point from Willie Joe. It was over 50 yards out, a wonderful point. Mayo need quite a few more of those now, and they must be getting scores on the scoreboard now if they're to get back into contention here.
Vincent Glennon, the man who scored at the last Roscommon point. So it's Tony McManus who lost his footing, and Peter Ford had the opportunity to go back goal side. Challenge died. And Tony McManus, I'm sure, is well aware that when he's not playing Gaelic football, Peter Ford is a very fine heavyweight boxer. And I can't remember Tony McManus being done too often in the past. I think a degree of frustration just beginning to creep in. Right on the end line. Ah, yes. Bit of variation. Take that.
You wouldn't want to be hitting Ford too hard, I can tell
you. Willie Joe Patton. John Finn. Referee has sounded the whistle, and it's going to be a free in right on the 13-metre line, and John Finn, the team captain, made that happen by a very advanced move. And just coming in to the referee now with the little piece of paper to signal his arrival. Man who scored the goal in the 1989 final for Mayo, when they were beaten by Cork that day. Anthony Finnerty and Tony Morley, young man from Ballyhonus who's only 21 years of age. Good prospect of the future. Today, however, was not his day. So Michael Fitzmaurice in what is the 12th minute of the second half. Should be easy. Plays it up and over the bar. So as in Castlebar, he's now kicked 2 points, both from frees. And the gap is being pegged back by Mayo bit by bit. As at half-time, just 3 between them.
Mayo are coming back into the game definitely, and Willie Joe has made a big difference there as centre forward.
Michael Fitzmaurice stretching up for this one with Matthew Riley, toe poked away, however, by Seamus Calore and gathered by Peter Butler on his own 65-metre line. Willie Joe Patton. Again, supplying the ball inside for the inside forward line. Anthony Finnerty has it fisted away by Des Newton. Going back to collect. McHale calling for it. Max Day trying to turn his man, who's Enon Gavin. The little chip shot. Will it curl in? It does. And it's now 9 points to 7. And Max Day has kicked his second point. Both beautifully executed.
Yeah, very good ball here. Yeah, Max Day has it on here, and great finish again. As I said earlier on, he's the one player on the Mayo team who has got the skill to get the scores from play. But that was a wonderful through ball there from Finnerty, in fairness to him.
So Roscommon, having started the half very promisingly with 2 points unanswered, have now surrendered a lot of possession and quite a few scores.
There's a switch from the Roscommon team there now. That after bringing Gavin, the centre half, back and putting Paul Hickey back into the corner. They're after bringing Gavin out, I'd say, to mark Willie Joe.
Gavin had certainly been finding Paul McStay a bit of a handful. Killoran dropping it forward, but not quite with the precision that was needed. Peter Ford getting there ahead of Paul early. Roscommon will be happy with the sideline ball. Tony McManus trying to make some headway. Well, after a good start, Tony McManus hasn't really enjoyed the best of fortunes in this game. It's kicked in by TJ Kilgallen. Willie Joe Padden lets it bounce off his chest. Durkin. Still looking for his first point, but he's out around the middle of the field trying to make things happen for some of the others. Mac Hale dropping it well in towards Anthony Finnerty. Did he push? He's got to go! Roscommon, I think, complaining that there was a push on Des Newton. But Anthony Finnerty.
Unquestionably, Finnerty definitely pushed him there. There was no doubt about it in my mind.
And the referee is going in to consult the umpires. From my angle here, I agree with Mick O'Dwyer. There was a push on Des Newton. We may see it in replay. That may confirm it.
Yeah, the referee is putting it in the book, though.
It's going to count. This is the ball that came over. Yes, I think there was a push there on Des Newton, but he took it away brilliantly.
Yeah, he took his chance very well.
From the other angle, Mick.
Yes, there it is. You can see it. No question, but that's football, isn't it? It reminds me of 1982, but they're the things that happen in games.
Good run forward here by Paul Hickey. On it goes to Junior McManus, cousin of Tony, giving it to the cousin. Referee says that he was caught, and Tony then exchanging an angry gesture there with TJ Kilgallen. Roscommon have seen their lead eaten away, and Derek Duggan has kicked over another one. So now there's just a point separating these sides in the west once again. That's Derek Duggan's 6th pointed free. It's 11-10. So once again, the huge crowd getting full value for money in terms of the drama that these teams are producing. That's caught by Paul Early, now making the move out to midfield. Down towards John Newton, has gone in around full forward. Tony McManus, or rather it's Derek Duggan against Dermot Flanagan. Now Tony McManus again trying to step into the breach here, engineers something for Roscommon. John Newton kicking with the outside of the right boot, and they're on level terms. It's 1-8 for Mayo. It's 11 points for Roscommon, and that's the captain who leads the way, having made the quick switch from midfield to full forward.
Yeah, in fairness to John Newton, he's the one player that has been giving leadership from early on. Tony McManus has been pulled and dragged here, didn't get a free. Play went on, and Newton took his chance exceptionally well. Wonderful point.
Well, there was never going to be much in it, and there isn't. Eugene Lavin then has seen his side take a lead of 2 points, and now they've been pulled back to equality. Vincent Glennon against Anthony McGarry. Support from Junior McManus, trying to set something up, perhaps for Tony. Tony kicking, and he's put it in. Off the goalkeeper, down off the post. Derek Duggan being held up inside. Appeals from Roscommon for a penalty, out towards Graham. John Newton now, can he get a second point in the space of a minute or so? He's put it well wide. Well, that was interesting. A good shot by Tony McManus, just obviously dropping short onto the post, coming back down.
A good ball from Tony McManus in here.
Just what happens next then?
Very questionable there. I mean, he was being pulled and dragged, and I can't understand. That was the blatant penalty in my book.
Willie Joe Padden trying to lay it down here. A good burst forward through the centre. Tierney on the left boot to restore Mayo's advantage, but he has just done so. There can't have been too much in it. Inside that left-hand post and coming from the centre half-back position. The kind of point that can sometimes inspire a team.
A very good score, but yeah, Willie Joe broke it down very well there, and Tierney was straight through, in fairness, to collect it and kicked a great point. But again, Willie Joe was contesting that ball in the air there again.
Tierney the point scorer. making it 1-9 to 11 points. It's Mayo by 1 and 7 points remaining, or 7 minutes remaining. Paul Early, drop deep towards John Newton. The Roscommon tactic is very plain, to play the ball in towards the high-fielding John Newton from Paul Early. Simple yet effective, and the game can be tied up here again with Derek Duggan taking on the responsibility from 20 metres out. So Derek Duggan taking maximum care with this one. Two tall players just in front of him, trying to prevent a clear view at the target. TJ Kilgallen, Dermot Flanagan. He pops it over on the sides level once more. Third time in the second half they've been level. It's an impressive performance by a 19-year-old to come into the fray of the championship, having won a Connacht minor medal a few years ago. But he really is playing his part. Enon Gavin touches it down, but obviously gaining an advantage by getting up onto the back of one of the attackers. So we're set for another grandstand finish in a championship tie here on the Sunday game. We've now just got 5 minutes of ordinary time remaining. Michael Fitzmaurice. Derek Duggan had this kind of pressure at the other end. So now Fitzmaurice can restore Mayo's advantage. Drop to the right. Fisted by Ray Dempsey. Paul Hickey now operating in the corner, going across there with Liam McHale and Paul McStay. Trying to break out. Paul Early touching it outside. Durkin and Graham. And in the end it's Enon Gavin trying to turn defence into attack, and look where Tony McManus is, back around his own half-back line. It breaks on towards Junior McManus. Plenty of support available, and a good burst through the middle here from Vincent Glennon. 1 point already in the second half. Pinned with a challenge there by Anthony McGarry, and he's won himself the free. The Roscommon fans delirious, cheering every second of this second half as their side bids to hold on to the title. This is the challenge.
Yes, that was a late challenge there on Junior McManus, but in fairness to him, he got it in very well there. Glennon got it right in, and yes, this is Junior McManus again.
McGarry, I think, was the one who pinned in the challenge.
And Donlan came through, and now questionably a free. So that was a very good movement by Roscommon. They held the ball and they looked for one another, and they moved it through until they finished. Very well worked move. An
assured finish by Derek Duggan. The kicker of 8 invaluable points. Roscommon, the champions, lead in the West. Graham trying to hold it, and it's Paul Early really asserting himself now in these dying moments of this match. The free has been conceded, and Marty McDermott, the manager, once again in there with the word of advice to his charges. He's kicked it high into the wind. John Finn letting it come out. John Newton, it's with Michael Fitzmaurice, but he's only about 25 metres from his own goal. Mayo needing the possession. It's Connacht in the centre of the field there. Joey Connaughton trying to keep it away from Noel Durkin. Good support from Des Newton. Played into the clear to Junior McManus. Remember, Roscommon by 1. We're now nearly 2 minutes into injury time. Killora having missed one a few minutes ago, and they can't do much better.
Yes, I think that's as good as the score at this stage.
The Roscommon fans encouraging the referee to whistle up. He's already played 2¼ minutes of injury time. There can't be much more left in this Connacht final replay tie. It's all over, and Roscommon have won the Connacht title They retain the Leinster Cup. It's their 18th Connacht Championship win. They conceded a goal to Anthony Finnerty after 18 minutes of the second half. It seemed to be going Mayo's way at that time, but with the kicking of Derek Duggan, 8 points in all to his credit. Some fine fetching by John Newton and by Paul Early, and Tony McManus, who battled his heart out, engineered a fine victory as Connacht belongs to Roscommon once again. A memorable victory at Dr. Hyde Park. There was only a point in it at the end. The final score was Roscommon 13 points, Mayo 1 goal and 9. The President of the Connacht Council, Pádraig Gorman, presenting the Leinster Cup to a delighted John Newton. Roscommon win in Connacht.
Derek, you ended up with a tally of 8 points from frees. Was the pressure on you today as great as it was for that last kick in Castlebar 2 weeks ago?
It was, yeah. Last kick in Castlebar, no, I didn't feel much pressure. But there was a lot more pressure on today's frees. Like everyone was crucial.
There was a swirling breeze down there. We noticed that Michael Fitzmaurice had some difficulties in the first half. Did you have difficulties in the second half?
I had, yeah. Thought once or twice as well that the Mayo players, one or two, might have been too close, and I tried to chip them rather than just hit the ball at the goal properly, you know. So I missed one bad one anyway. So kind of made up for it then towards the end. So.
I have to ask you about one particular incident late in the second half. Was there a penalty in your view?
I thought I was pulled down all right, but it doesn't matter as long as you win in the end. Like, so we got away with enough, I suppose.
At times we appeared to have the game lost, particularly when Mayo came back in the second half and got the goal. But our fellas dug deep, and it was raw courage, determination, call it what you like, but they dug deep and they found it, and they deserved to win in the end.
Your tactics were relatively straightforward. Some people would say very simple. Get the ball in midfield, pump it into the tall men inside.
Well, we varied our tactics. We used Paul Early and Derek Duggan quite a lot in the full forward line, and John Newton, who moved him in there as well. But at times, particularly in the last 5 minutes, we held the ball up very well and played a shorter game. We mixed the game very well today, and it paid off for us.
What about that incident in the start of the second half there, where the ball came across and you were tussling with Anthony Finnerty?
Well, I wouldn't like to say too much about it, but I think from...
Harry, you can afford to. Were you pushed?
I think from... Yes. I think from where I was, I established myself on the ground in front of Anthony, and I think he gave me a little nudge all right.
Are Roscommon better this year in your view?
I think they are. They're a year older, more experienced. They went through a lot in the last 12 months. In fact, this is our semi-final again, 2 All-Ireland semi-finals, 2 league semi-finals. They've got to have learned. I think they showed that out today. When they were under pressure in the second half, they didn't give up. They kept fighting for each other, and there was a great bond there in the second half, and I think that rallied them around in the end.
There was a suggestion that you were going to pack it in as soon as the championship was over for Roscommon. It's going to go on and on a bit more.
Thankfully, it'll last another few weeks, and I'm hoping that it'll last till September. But come September, if we get there, that's the end for me. I have done my duty, my job for 4 years, and my term is up, and there's no going back.
So Roscommon, the champions in Connacht again, and also, of course, into that All-Ireland semi-final against the eventual champions in Leinster. Well, let's take a look at the statistics from today's game. You know, if Roscommon had lost their title today, they would surely have regretted the enormous number of wides they kicked in the course of this game. Now, neither side were what you might call deadly in front of the posts, but Roscommon by far the more off-target. Funnily enough, watching this match, Mayo seemed to be committing twice as many fouls as Roscommon, but the statistics don't support that. Mayo were definitely the more guilty in the first half, but the figures evened out in the long run. However, Mayo certainly paid more dearly for the frees they conceded than Roscommon, the winners getting almost 3 times as many scores from the place ball than the Mayo men. Well, that's what the statistics tell us about today's game, but what do the experts think? Well, after the match, Ger Canning asked Mick O'Dwyer to give us his impression on today's encounter.
Mick, it clearly wasn't a great first half, but the second half, what did you make of that?
Well, the first half was a very, very scrappy. There was a lot of bad football in the first half, and there was a lot of needling fouls, and, you know, it just didn't flow at all. But in the second half, the game came to life. Roscommon seemed to have, well, Mayo came into it in the start of the second half. With the introduction of Willie Joe, I think Mayo got rightly back into the game. And at that stage, I thought Mayo were going on to win. But when they went 2 points up, something happened. Something went radically wrong with Mayo. They just stopped playing. And Mayo, or Roscommon, then really got down to work. and they played a great combined game. You know, they fought for every ball, they were tenacious, they backed up one another, and I think that was the reason above all other that they won the game. They kept on fighting, they kept on harassing, they kept on chasing, and they kept on moving the ball, and especially when they were on the ball, they looked for one another and they didn't kick the ball away foolishly, and I think they did that very well in the last 3 minutes especially.
I must ask you about Liam McHale, who seemed to be having a very good first 35 minutes, but we didn't see very much of him for the second half.
That's right, he had a marvellous first half. As a matter of fact, at that stage I was just saying that he'd get the man of the match for the second time, but in the second half he just went out of the game completely. For what reason, I'll never know. I was amazed that Mayo didn't switch him into the full forward position and drive the ball in high at him when they had the wind in the second half. I think that would have been very beneficial to Mayo. You know, they brought in Willie Joe and they had him on the 40. I think they could have put him to midfield, put McHale to full forward, and if they had applied the ball in high to Liam McHale, I think it would have made a big difference. Now, Roscommon, in fairness, did that very well with John Newton. They moved him into the full forward position in the last 7 or 8 minutes, and he won great ball in there. And I think he was instrumental in winning the game in there for Roscommon in the dying moments of the game.
What about the refereeing today? It seemed a couple of curious decisions, to say the very least. There was a goal for Mayo. Might have been a push.
Well, there was two very debatable situations in the game. One was, of course, when Finnerty pushed Newton there. I thought it was a push. And the other one then was at the other end of the field when Donlan, I thought, was fouled in the square. That could have been a penalty to Roscommon. But then again, we have a very loose tackle in our game, and it's causing havoc in football at the moment. I mean, it's all pulling and dragging and fisting at the moment. I think we must sit down and make a decision on the tackle in our game, and it's about time that we either introduce an Australian rules tackle into our game or bring in a system where a player, when he gets possession, that he releases the ball. I think it would clean up the game no end, and it would make it a lot easier for referees as well. We're continually complaining after every game about referees. There's something wrong somewhere. Either our referees are bad or our rules are wrong, one or the other. It must be one or the other, and I think we need a close look at them now.
I've read traditionalists saying, no, it's not that at all. It's in fact the coaches, that they're not coaching how to tackle the block down, the shoulder and so on.
Well, I've been in football for long enough to know that this famous tackle that we're supposed to have, the blocking down of the ball and the shoulder charge and all that, that's not a tackle as such. I mean, we must have a clear-cut thing. There's a big grey area in our tackle at the moment. And in my opinion, I would even go as far as bringing in an Australian rules tackle at the minute, the way the game is going.
OK, Mick, time to nominate now your Telecom Éireann man of the match for this week.
Yes, it was a very, very, very tough task on this occasion. There was quite a lot of players who gave exceptionally good displays, especially for Roscommon today. But the man that I selected was John Newton.
John Newton kicking with the outside of the right boot, and they're on level terms.
Well, I think when it's your day, it's your day. I didn't feel I had a particularly good game. You know, I thought Derek and Seamus and, you know, a couple more of the lads are more deserving of it, but you know, I won't say no. We have the cup in the house and we have the man of the match in the house now, so, you know, it's been a great day all round for us.
So congratulations to John Newton, impressive in both matches and named Telecom Éireann man of the match this afternoon. Well, now we turn our focus of attention north to the Ulster final.